de Presidente, Mr. Hoekstra. 20 years ago, major tax fraud by banks, so-called dividend stripping and CumEx and CumCum deals were exposed the very first time, both in the Netherlands and in Germany. The former Dutch Minister of Finance, Mr. Gerrit Salm, and his State Secretary, responsible for the Financial Intelligence Unit of the Netherlands, the FIOD, Mr. Joop Wien, were alleged to have blocked those investigations. They both later joined the executive branches of banks directly implicated in these fraudulent tax schemes. And to my knowledge, they have been both investigated for several years by now for aggravated money laundering, which includes CumEx and CumCum. What did you do as Minister of Finance of the Netherlands to restart those investigations that have been blocked by Mr. Zalm in 2006? And would you be in favor of taxing share buybacks, which would be a measure to fight these fraudulent tax schemes?
Thank you. I do feel at liberty to remind you then that Mr. Zalm was in office in 1994, and I was 18 at the time. So I don't have a full recollection of everything he did in office, and maybe what he should have done. Let me mention two things. One is, I think for all the right reasons, we are hammering down these type of practices, and I know CumCum and CumEx have been huge conversations, particularly I think in Germany and in Denmark, but to a lesser extent also in the Netherlands, and in many cases actually justice and courts got involved. But also the part that is maybe not wrong from a legal perspective, but it has a clear moral dimension to it, I think is truly worth investigating, and is truly something that at least I am completely not okay with. Now that you're talking about the Netherlands, maybe I could also take the opportunity, because I think this is linked to the domain of how the Netherlands has been treating taxes more generally, where we often get a lot of questions. What I've tried to do when I was finance minister, and by the way, a lot of the credit goes to the state secretary, to my state secretary at the time, is getting rid of a lot of the practices that were frowned upon at the time. So what we have done is dramatically decrease the opportunities for letterbox companies. We have introduced a tax for royalties. We've actually increased the tax base for large companies, and as well as the percentage. Don't take my word for it, but look at what the Commission at the time said. The Commission gave us a country-specific recommendation, the CSR for this, from the top of my head, 2019 and 2020. And before I left office in 2021, they did remove this CSR because they felt this was being dealt with. And I think that is in the same domain of worries that you were alluding to, sir. So I hope it gives you an impression of the way I approach these type of topics.